Ready? Okay. Going to call to order the meeting of the West Windsor Township Council for March 24th, 2025. Can you please call the roll, Allison?
Gawas.
Here.
Jeevers.
Here.
Mandel.
Here.
Weiss.
Here.
Whitfield.
Here.
And have we adequately noticed?
Yes, on January 17th, 2025, to the Times in the Princeton Packet, filed with the clerk of the municipality, posted in the West Windsor Township Municipal Building and on the township website. Please stand for the salute to the flag.
Thank you. And for our first order of business, topic of priority consideration, we have Helen Rankin, who's going to give her Shade Tree Commission briefing to the council. Helen, if you'd like to introduce yourself and give the briefing, please. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Helen Rankin, Chair of the West Windsor Shade Tree Commission. Thank you for your time this evening as I summarize three aspects.
Can you get in a little better to the microphone?
Lady Todd, so you have.
You have to get in closer to the microphone or it's not going to get recorded. Lift it up a little bit or, yeah.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Let the drama build.
Thank you. Is that better?
Yeah,
Good.
a little bit better, sir. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good evening. I'm Helen Rankin, Chair of the West Windsor Shade Tree Commission. Thank you for your time this evening as I summarize three aspects of the commission, namely our past activities in 2024, activities we are currently planning, and longer term goals that members will be spending efforts in 2025 and 2026. Before I move forward, I would like to acknowledge my fellow commission members and volunteers, Vice Chair Ellen Clancy and Secretary Farrell Mixon, as well as the advisor Mike Shewitt. You may note, according to our enabling language, we currently have 2 vacancies, and we are hopeful that those seats will be filled sooner versus later. What happened in 2024? Well, we spent many hours developing new language into Chapter 170, Trees on Public and Private Property. Specifically, and consistent with state regulations, the revised chapter now includes language on tree replacement requirements for the purpose of stormwater pollution prevention. We started out determined to produce not only the clearest of language, but the best ordinance in the state. I believe we accomplished those 2 goals. And as you know, the revised Chapter 170 became effective in late October of 2024. That work for Chapter 170 also included the development of an application form and a list of trees and plants that are encouraged and discouraged from being planted within the township. In 2024, the township received 7 tree removal permits, only 1 of which was denied. In 2025 thus far, 3 exemptions were processed and 5 tree removal permits have been submitted. Details on those permit applications and exemption requests can be found within the township's engineering department. Additionally, we held our annual Arbor Day celebration and supported the township at its annual Community Day. Commission members completed several courses and seminars to improve our understanding of best management practices for trees and possible blight issues and remediation techniques. In 2025, the commission began to author minutes for each of our meetings. Members take turns in drafting the minutes before the next meeting. This extra effort on the part of the volunteers saves the township that work and ensures that we are effective in approving minutes in a timely manner. Moving into 2025, we are currently planning this year's Arbor Day celebration, which will take place April 26th at the Ron Rogers Arboretum. Again, we are currently holding an art contest for elementary and middle school children. An invitation to the event will be sent to the mayor and council members within the next few days. We thank you for your attendance in the past, and we are hopeful that you will be able to join us again next month. At this year's event, we will also be dedicating the tree that was planted in honor of Mr. Slynn, who was a previous chair of this commission, as well as very active in various community organizations. Additionally, the commission will again participate in the Community Day should such an event be scheduled later this year. Further into 2025, the commission will be discussing and proposing changes to our enabling ordinance to improve upon its language. Two such ideas will be included to require the chair's report to the council on a yearly basis, as I am doing this evening, and to have language regarding the election of an official vice chair. We appreciate the mayor and council are considering for the first time a budgetary line item of approximately $3,000 for the operation of the Shade Tree Commission. Members have been generous with their time as volunteers and have also spent out-of-pocket funds for various required seminars and conferences and various items to support Arbor Day and Community Day. Moving forward, we are hopeful to meet our continuing education units this year with the financial support of the township. Tree City USA is a program that does not need detailed discussion, but to state that we continue to have that title and designation, and the commission is meeting states NJUCF accreditation. It seems that bamboo has become the topic of conversations with a handful of municipalities across the state. Some towns are looking at adopting strict planting ordinances and with steep fines, while other municipalities are looking at more holistic approaches to manage this invasive grass. The West Windsor Shade Tree Commission will study the bamboo issue and will propose language that is both reasonable and enforceable in our town. As Council President Mandel recently noted in a Facebook post, our township bamboo is already a discouraged plant, yet perhaps more language is warranted. Finally, and what will take up most of our effort with this year is our work on the updating, enhancing the township's community forestry and shade tree master plan. This plan is specifically listed as a responsibility of this commission, and we are dedicated to developing the best plan possible. One aspect that we will be tackling is including specific language on the proper maintenance of street trees by township employees. That maintenance section will be developed in conjunction with the Department of Public Works and will include a schedule for maintenance, much like we have a schedule for yard waste cleanup. Far too often, the township spends money on new street trees, only for some to fail within 3 years. Just drive around the town, we all see broken guardrails, broken branches, and dead young trees. Those conditions should not happen. In closing, and on behalf of the members of the Shade Tree Commission, I thank you for your time this evening. We look forward to your attendance at our Arbor Day celebration in April, and we look forward to robust conversations of enhancing our ordinance, discussions on bamboo, and the community forestry and shade tree master plan as we work on those items. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Helen. If you'll stay for a little bit, we'll see if there's some comments around the table. Anybody want to go first?
Thank you for all the work that you do and the whole team's commitment to this very important issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. I think bamboo definitely needs a discussion because that keeps coming up every so often. I think that's I know in my neighborhood there's a bamboo issue happening between four houses because it has spread to 4 different properties now. So yeah.
Yes, thank you. I'm liaison to the Shade Tree Commission. So you do very good work. You worked very, very hard last year on the ordinance, tree removal ordinance, did great work. And I think we consider it one of the best in the state.
Mhm.
So thanks for all that hard work and to all the community members who contributed. We put the money in, we haven't introduced the budget yet, but there is a line item that's new this year for money for the Shade Tree Commission, because there are certain obligations, to get continuing education units or,
Mhm.
And all that. So we're moving forward with that. I think it's good with the public street, the tree maintenance, and also informing residents when there's a new public street tree put in front of their house, what are they supposed to do with it? How often they should water it, or let the township know if something's not going well with this tree growing properly. So I think that's good that the commission is looking into that. What else? And the minutes, right? That's
right.
something this year that we said with all the boards and commissions, that they're public meetings and there should be minutes. So
Mhm.
thanks to all the members for doing that too.
Of course,
That's
thank
good.
you.
It's great group of
Mhm.
people.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Helen. Thank you. Obviously, your passion and dedication for this over the years is truly appreciated. So it should be commended for the work that you do. So we're very supportive. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Helen. Thanks to you and all the members of the committee. Your role is even more important now that Dan has retired, because
Mhm.
Dan used to do a lot of those stuff. And I'm looking forward to your guidance on the bamboo, because that issue occasionally comes up, and I know once it takes off, it never does. And thanks for continuing the Arbor Day. It's not only important for Arbor Day, but I enjoy really the kids' participation and how skilled they are with
Yeah.
the painting. It's really great to see. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all for your
And
support.
thank you, Helen. And yes, as Linda mentioned, that line item was there. It's going to be going into the budget that we'll be voting on. So that should, I would guess, I can't promise, obviously, we haven't voted yet, but at this point, that's in the budget. I'm excited that you're looking at the bamboo, because that's something that's for years and years I've hoped that we could do something about. And I think if you were referring to that post where somebody was saying, "Oh, this is a benefit for the environment," and it's no. It's very, very invasive, and I know it's something that we're not going to go chop everybody's yard, but we need to have some control over, because it does go into other people's yards, and it does. It's not just something that's restricted to your own property. And I was very thrilled to see that we have a list of trees that we don't want planted and trees that we do want planted as a guidance for people, and as an updated list that looks like a very doable, very good list. And when people do ask these questions, we have something to point to them. And as I do tell them, legally, we can only restrict those trees when it comes to replacement trees under the ordinance. But when you're putting in a tree, why not put in a proper tree, regardless of whether you're forced to? And we're I think we should have people see that list as a suggestion, regardless of when they're doing the planting or why.
Correct.
And the maintenance point, Linda went into detail on that, but having some sort of maintenance on both new and existing trees that is a little bit more laid out and planned, I think it'll be a big benefit to our whole structure of street trees. And so thank you very much for everything you're doing, and I think we all appreciate that. And please thank the whole committee for it.
I will. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks. Moving right along, I'm going to open public comment. 30 minutes, 3 minutes per person. And anybody like to get up and speak? Dave? And please give, as you well know, your name and address.
Okay. David Paris, 207 Washington Road in Penn's Neck. As I think all of you probably know by now, but I felt compelled to comment. Saturday night, we had a road rally that went right through Penn's Neck. A really thunderous amount of engine noise. no mufflers nearly as I could tell. I had my hearing aids out, went to bed, and I could still hear everything outside. My son, Tim, his mother-in-law lives with him next door. She was terrified. There were a lot of children and a lot of pets that were terrified too. It was constant. It was not a race, but it was a parade. It went on for about half an hour. And as I've told some people, I got over that fascination with engine noise when I was in high school. That was in the 1950s. I'm not sure what this revival has been. I don't know what the legalities are. And I also don't know if anybody local is involved. But I did want a conversation to be started about this. The police tell me that they did respond. And it was within a reasonable time. The complaints, I think, were quite numerous because my wife, Susan, was following them on Facebook and they all recorded it in as it went. The police told me they did disperse. I don't know if they went somewhere else and started it again, but that's possible. I don't think this is the kind of thing we want, but as I said, I know it's not necessarily illegal to simply be out on the road, particularly if you're having an impromptu parade. On the other hand, this is a very undesirable situation. Washington Road, where I live, has very few sidewalks. It has pedestrians all day because there are commuters who walk to and from the train. This was dangerous for them. And I think we need to start a conversation as to what can be done to prevent incidents of this kind. Particularly as I understand it, there may even have been a staging area in the public parking area, which was next to the train station. And that probably is subject to some regulation. So I did want to bring it to your attention and perhaps some discussions can ensue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Okay. Anybody else wish to make public comment? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. Mayor,
I will respond.
you'll address that? Okay, Carrie? Please.
Good evening. We have several updates tonight. The senior center bus is currently, all transportation is currently suspended when we're working to get the bus service back to all of our residents, and we hope to have that very soon. The senior center is also still hosting on Tuesday mornings a AARP free tax service, and appointments are required and to contact the senior center. For the health department, cat license registration and renewal is due at the end of April. The fee for cat license is $7 for spayed cats and spayed neutered cats and $10 for non-spayed, non-neutered cats. Renewal of cat licenses due by April 30th every year, and information is also on news and notices and the health department page. I know it's mentioned already, but the Arbor Day contest is the applications and submission of artwork is due by this Thursday, March 27th, for K through 8 for the Township Arbor Day student art contest. And the theme is what the trees see, and more information on the website. So if you haven't started it yet, you can get that in by this Thursday. Public Works is in Zone 4 today for brush and leaves. And on Saturday, May 10th, Public Works will be hosting their spring cleanup day. And more information on what is accepted is on the website. And as it gets closer, we will provide more information on that as well. Mercer County Improvement Authority is hosting a document shredding event coming up on Saturday, April 12th from 9 to 12. It is in Trenton at 641 Broad Street in Lot 4, and a maximum of 8 bankers boxes for that is accepted. And they have also their hazardous waste and e-waste collection on June 14th at the Dempster Fire Training in Lawrence Township. A reminder that annual burglar alarm registrations are due on March 31st, so the end of this month, and you can register with the Police Department Records Division. It is a $25 fee to register your burglar alarms, and failure to register a burglar alarm system annually may result in a late fee and or fine. And you can do that again at the police department and the records division. You can do it in person, or you can mail the information and download the registration form. And that is all of the updates we have right now.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thanks. Mr. Paris, the people who were doing car racing were from out of West Windsor. They were not West Windsor residents. The police did break it up. They did issue few tickets to the people and drove it out. We are hoping it's only a one-time occurrence and not they don't come. Hopefully, with the tickets, they won't come back next time. So it's not just that they were shoot away. Some people were issued citations. So I did talk to the chief, and the current regulations are sufficient to prevent something like that from happening again. But those kids came from out of town. I mean, we know where they came from, but not from West Windsor. So hopefully that was just one-off. I did talk to the Mercer County Chief of Staff about the library, Mercer County Library. He is going to give me an update. I didn't get a chance to check my email today, but he did assure me that West Windsor Library will be done before. There are two other libraries in this year's budget, I think Lawrenceville and something else. He did assure me that ours will be taken care of first because it's leaking. We continue to press the county for early voting, and Andrea has been helping me and going to meetings. Their commissioners meeting is coming up again this Thursday. We may go. The question is, I did go to the election commission meeting, and they passed a resolution supporting our request. They did confirm that they do have the machines. One of the questions was whether they have enough machines available. They did question they have enough machine. The question is the state pays county for only 7 voting locations, and we are willing to work with the county to try to get more money out of the state. But if the state doesn't give, then county has to make the hard decisions what to do. But the discrimination against West Windsor has to stop. I mean, West Windsor has more registered voters than both East Windsor and Princeton. They have bigger population in both East Windsor and Princeton, and far more people in West Windsor voted last November's election than East Windsor and Princeton, and that too without having a voting location in town. Potentially, if we had early voting location in town, those numbers would have been even bigger. And I didn't write down, but I do have numbers of how many West Windsor people went to East Windsor and voted, and how many went to Princeton and voted. So there's no reason for the county not to provide us an early voting location, and they have to figure out how they will do that. So we will continue pushing and use every means necessary to end this discrimination, but we will have a voting location this November. And lastly, the fair share housing show continues. We did have a mediation session with the Fair Share Housing Center. Just to refresh the memory, our number was 392. They came up with a number of 489. In the mediation session, they agreed to reduce it to 480 without challenging any of the sites that we had taken out of our plan. So we did ask them how did they come up with the number, and they didn't have the answer how they come up with that number. We strongly suspect they are doing reallocation, which means they are taking some of the units that are not being built by other towns and assigning it to West Windsor. And the judges have, the retired judges have indicated that that's not allowed by the by the legislation passed, A4 legislation passed. So we do have a session tomorrow with Judge Jacobson. Um, After the session, she will make a recommendation to the judge who will finally rule, Judge Lawi. So we will see how the session goes tomorrow. The league has been very helpful. The league has been, there are roughly about 158 towns who have challenged the DCA number. The league is holding twice a week sessions. I believe there's one tomorrow, so Tuesday and Thursday or Tuesday and Friday, so that we can learn from each other's experience. But different judges have indicated different things, and some towns have only fair share housing center challenging, some towns have the builders challenging, and we believe the builders shouldn't have any say in this matter because they haven't followed the law. But again, I mean, it's entirely up to the judge how they rule. I mean, builders shouldn't be shouldn't be even allowed to attend the hearing, since the law clearly required that they have to, if they disagree with our law, they have to provide a number and a justification for their number, and they have clearly not done that. So we will see how the session goes and how Judge Jacobson rules, and then decide what our next action is. I mean, the sad reality is this is practically of less value, since when we come up with our plan in June, it will be a different number and the whole charade starts again. In the meantime, you will see there's $100,000 allocation for affordable housing related legal expenses. So that's sad reality in New Jersey, that you waste money on lawsuits rather than providing affordable housing. And I will comment on website. There's a website discussion in the agenda, so I'll wait till that comes up to provide my comments. So thank you very much.
Just ask a clarifying question. I heard you say that they provided no justification of the new number and they didn't challenge our allocations at all?
The builders didn't challenge our allocations. The builder's position is the DCA number holds for every town.
Yeah, well, that's not.
Right, that's nonsense, but that's their
Yeah.
But
position.
fair share housing.
Fair share housing center didn't, we kept asking, how do you come with 480 number, right? See, we have challenged on two fronts. One is equalized assessments are wrong because they use two different years for two different numbers.
Right.
The judge seemed very interested, and then the mediator or the person appointed by judge seemed very interested. We did explain to her what the mistake is. And the Fair Share Housing Center to date has not told us how they come up with that number, 480 number. We think it's because of the reallocation from other towns.
Trying to figure out how to bring the total number up.
Total number up, but
But-
reallocation is not out.
It's not in the legislation.
Yeah,
gonna
it's
have
not
to
in
be
the
that.
legislation. It's not, we shouldn't be
But-
responsible for other people's affordability.
And the way they're doing it, from the way I understand it, is they're not giving it to everybody, just whoever said, hey, there was a problem with my numbers. So, which is totally makes no sense, because you absolutely have a right to correct mistakes in the numbers. So they've arbitrarily not only said that the law says this, but that the only people or the only towns that have to worry about it are towns that had the nerve to ask for corrections in their numbers. So hopefully that kind of thing gets tossed, but it's New Jersey, so.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. All right. Administration's done. We'll move on to council member comments. Martin, would you like to go first?
Quick comments. I'll just want to say, everybody, welcome to spring. Obviously, spring is in the air, but with that comes the walkers, joggers, bikers, and as we know in our community, we have so many of those. So I just want everyone to be very careful and cognizant as drivers, looking out for the kids, looking out for those who walk and biking throughout our community, and the same thing with those who are avid walkers and bikers. Do the same. Just wanted to thank everyone from the township departments who made budget presentations, requested considerations from council regarding the department budgets at our budget session meetings earlier this month. I know it takes a lot of work to go through that and go through everything for the benefit of the residents. So I just want to take time to thank our township, our administration, and all the department heads for their presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Linda?
Yeah, good. And talking about people who are out there on the road, you know, when there's stop signs, you got to stop. I've seen so many people that have turned this into some sort of option in their head. They're not even giving the appearance of slowing down. They're just going right through.
Matter of fact, they go
Have
faster
you
because
guys seen this too?
Yeah.
Sometimes?
they go
Well,
faster because they want to beat
everyone's
you out.
shaking their head. Yeah. So please, just stop at the stop sign. Be aware. There's children, there's adults, there's people on bikes, and we don't want to see anybody get hurt. So I enjoyed last week. I was with the West Windsor Little League President Heather Sanchetti and some of the younger softball players. Last Thursday, Priyanka Kaul, and she's graduated high school South, and she's now attending Harvard University. And she's on their women's softball team. So they were playing Princeton this weekend, and they wanted to come a day early. So they needed a field, and they wanted to go into the indoor batting cage at Community Park. So the Little League, you know, allowed them to do that. And some of the younger softball players got to meet them, and they signed some balls and some programs and pictures for the kids. So they enjoyed that very much. And that's it.
Sonia?
Well, I'll just add with spring, with what Martin said, like we have people out and about now. Spring track season has started and the high school students do practice on the roads. They do run, so please be careful. Stop signs, stop for the buses. When the buses have blinking stop signs, I've seen people not do that. No turn on red means no turn on red, so please do stop. I've been honked many times. I'm stopped because it says no turn on red or stop here on red, and people want me to move. So please, please, please look at these signs. There was a discussion happening at the traffic light by High School South, where we have new signs for no sign on red, no turn on red. And when I was coming here today, I actually made a point to see if I can actually see the signs. I can. The signs are placed on all four corners. On your, like, you know, you can actually really see it. You don't have to look up at the light. It's right on the poles. So people just need to abide by the rules and laws and signage.
Right.
Thank you, Sonia. Dan?
So, a few things. It's at the West Windsor Board of Ed meeting, which I'll talk about in more detail during our reporting time, but I wanted to just shout out and give a call out is that in this meeting, the Board of Ed passed a resolution affirming their DEI position, which I think was a courageous and committed and the right thing to do. It ties back into some of the budget decisions that they had to make. I'll get into more of that later. I also went to the meeting because I wanted to do a little plug because the next day I was speaking at High School North's Belonging Day. And I wanted to do a little plug for Belonging Day and DEI, which I did really need to do because that entire meeting was DEI in spades. But I did speak to probably about 60 high school students over 2 sessions. I was invited by the High School North GSA Alliance. And it was just great to see the turnout to that event. They probably had about 40 different speakers on all the different affinity groups that the students have. So it's great to see so much engagement with our young adults and future leaders there. Also last week, there was a public meeting to talk about the concept and the benefits of ranked choice voting, which is becoming a more popular topic across the state. Currently, the state statutes do not permit any type of ranked choice voting anywhere, even if a township wanted to have it, it's unlawful. And so there's legislation that has been introduced, and there's a movement to try to get the state to pass our legislator to pass legislation that would allow towns to choose, which is a process through a referendum. It's not just arbitrarily decided, but at least to give towns that choice. Right now, nobody has the choice. So I think it's a really interesting topic that I would encourage all of us to like learn more about, because I think it's something that we might have to deal with in the coming years. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. And with all the thing about stopping on no turn on red, do also want to remind people that it's weather's getting really nice. People are still out walking at dusk, and when you're wearing dark clothing, it's really hard to see you. So, please wear light clothing, wear reflectors, wear lights if it's going to be dark. Nobody wants to hit anybody, and the more you can do to be seen, the better out we'll all be. This week I'm wearing my Meals on Wheels t-shirt. I have every year for the last few years, I've been a Meals on Wheels Mercer County champ during the month of March, where I got to go out with one of the volunteers for the day and go to about 10 different homes delivering hot meals in West Windsor. If there's anybody who's looking for a volunteer opportunity, I get people all the time like, well, I'm not sure what time I have and if I can, and maybe I can do once a week. This is a really good opportunity because they are very flexible with what you can do. And it's really wonderful to see. Sometimes these people, the only person they see pretty much all week are the Meals on Wheels deliverers. So the amount of happiness that you get from the clients that are helped is really very, very worthwhile. So if you do have some of that little extra time, this is a very worthy organization. This past few weeks, I did go to science fairs at Dutch Neck School and Village School. I've also met with several robotics teams in and out of the fairs. This is one of my favorite things to do, to see how our students in our district come up with original ideas and want to learn science. And I think that's indicative of our district, of our families here, and everything we can do to encourage this love of science and this interest in science, regardless of what career the kids might want to take eventually, is very positive. There's also been some Holly events, including the Dancing in the Dark at the West Windsor Arts Center. Sonia and I were there. So I want to thank Shivani for organizing that. I think that was a lot of fun. And lastly on that, there was a senior center birthday club that Hamanda Gupta has organized at the senior center. Both Hamant and I were there. It was a lot of fun. I got to wear a birthday hat. Yeah, I was a little embarrassed, but it's a monthly event, so you come whether or not it's your birthday. I think you sign up for it. It's a few dollars, and so if you're a senior and you're interested, do go to the senior center and ask to sign up for that. It's open to all seniors. We've completed our 3 budget work sessions over the last few weeks. If you've missed them, they are on YouTube, right, Allison?
That's correct.
That's
1, 2, and 3 are over.
1, 2, and 3 on YouTube. If you want to get yourself ready, the introduction is going to be coming, I guess, at the next meeting.
Yep.
And then there will be the hearing on it in May. So if you want to know, you can get the numbers and the budget numbers and the sheets and stuff online, but if you want to see the discussion and listen to our staff talk about why we need these various capital and operational improvements and keeping the lights on and regular things that we spend money on, I'd suggest that you go on and look through some of our YouTube presentations and you'll learn something. I want to thank the Bicycle and Pedestrian Alliance for having Dan Benson speak from the county on road and safety improvements on county roads, and speaking on the county and adding to what Hamant was saying. Back in February, our council unanimously passed a resolution asking for West Windsor to have voting equity with the rest of the county by having an early voting location in town. We've presented there. Hamant did a good job at the Board of Education. I'm sorry, at the Board of Elections. They agree. There seems to be general agreement that this is the right thing to do. Robbinsville passed a resolution agreeing that the place in West Windsor would be good for them because they don't have a location either. Allison's been doing yeoman work here, talking to the people at the county. Everybody agrees that this is what should happen. The people, and during the last election, a lot of people were disappointed, confused because we did not have a place even close to here. And between Robbinsville and us, we're probably, I forget how many people in Robbinsville, but we're probably over 45,000 between the two towns. That there's an entire area where there's really a voting desert when it comes to early voting, if you look at a map. So I really hope that this happens, and we're going to do everything in our power to make this fair. Now it's going to be up to the county, but anything anybody can do as far as writing letters or emails or calling the commissioners, that would be appreciated too. Okay. Thank you. Allison?
I have two announcements. Okay, be on the lookout for the annual Memorial Day Parade participation form. This form will be on the website April 1st, and the parade is scheduled for May 26th. So more information will follow. We're asking anyone that would like to participate to fill out the form. It will be available in the clerk's office or online. Please return it in person, email by May 16th. Second announcement is candidates for mayor and township council this year. The municipal election petitions for the mayor and 2 township council seats will be available starting April 1st. Anyone interested is to email me, Allison Sheehan, the township clerk, at asheehan@westwindsortwp.com, or in person or by phone, 609-799-2400. I'm an extension 225. All this information will also be posted on the website and sent in a blast at the end of this week. I'm asking for information such as your full name as you want on the ballot, home address, email address, and telephone number. So any other information, please contact me. Let's see.
And that's going to be on the e-blast by the end of the week, right?
Yes, planning for Friday. Yep.
Okay.
And then April 1st, they will be available to be requested by me.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Allison. Public hearing?
Okay, 2025-02, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 168, Traffic and Parking of the revised general ordinances of the Township of West Windsor to add Chapter 168-20.1, Scheduled No Parking Zones.
Okay, I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on 2025-02? No, seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Salute,
Second.
We have a roll call?
Gawes,
yes.
Cheevers,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Whitfield,
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. And now can I have a motion to adopt 2025-02?
So moved.
Second.
Gawes,
Yes.
Cheevers,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Whitfield,
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Agenda, bills and claims.
Please. Does anybody wish to pull anything? No? Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Second? Roll.
Whitfield,
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. Okay, and recommendations from administration and council clerk?
2025-R081, authorizing the refund of health insurance payments. 2025-R082, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a shared services agreement with West Windsor Plainsboro School District for educational and governmental programming for the township media channels and streaming services for the period January 1, 2025 through December 31st, 2027, for a total not to exceed $108,188.20. 2025-R083, authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to increase the professional services contract for the law offices of Mueller and Bailey, PC, for affordable housing legal fees, $100,000. 2025-R084, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute an easement modification agreement for 24 Millbrook Drive. 2025-R085, granting reservation of additional sewer capacity for the Princeton University project known as Baseball Ballpark PB 24-08 at the Lake Campus. 2025-R086, authorizing the business administrator to purchase hardware, software licensing, and support for replacement of the municipal network infrastructure system from SHI International Corporation, a state contract vendor, $112,933.61. 2025-R087, authorizing the business administrator to purchase HP toner from SHI International Corporation, a state contract vendor, $14,000. 2025-R088, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a professional services agreement with Van Cleef Engineering Associates to provide engineering and land surveying services for the proposed roundabout at New Village Road West, Baxter Place intersection, $131,500. 2025-R089, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a professional services agreement with Van Cleef Engineering Associates to provide engineering, survey, and design services for the Woodmere Way roadway resurfacing project, $55,000. 2025-R090, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a professional services agreement with Van Cleef Engineering Associates to provide engineering, survey, and design services for the project known as Canal Point Boulevard Retaining Wall Repair, $15,944. 2025-R091, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute change order number 1 with Earl Asphalt, Inc. for an increase of $389,101.65 for the Southfield Road and South Post Road Sewer Capacity Improvement Project for a revised total amount not to exceed $5,113,047.43. 2025-R092, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute change order number 1 and final with Instituform Technologies, Inc., formerly Standard Pipe Services, for a decrease of $75,657.50 for the DNR Canal Interceptor 48-inch diameter sewer spot repairs and manhole rehabilitation project for a revised total amount not to exceed $787,242.50. 2025-R093, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a professional services agreement with U.S. Athletic Fields, Inc. for the project known as Street Tree Removal and Stump Grinding, Winter 2025, $26,280. 2025-R094, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a professional services agreement with Protective Paving LLC for the project known as FY 2023 Park Grant Trail Resurfacing at West Windsor Community Park, $231,274.27. 2025-R095, authorizing the mayor and clerk to execute a professional services agreement with Center State Engineering for construction, administration, and observation services for the project known as Trail Resurfacing at West Windsor Community Park, $9,500. 2025-R096, authorizing the business administrator to purchase replacement of network firewall equipment for the police division from StarNet Solutions, Inc., $17,090. 2024-R097, authorizing the business administrator to purchase the replacement of domain controllers servers for the police division from StarNet Solutions, Inc., $29,640. 2025-R098, authorizing the mayor to execute a use and hold harmless agreement with Hamilton Township for use of the Hamilton Police Range as an alternative training location for the West Windsor Police Division. 2025-R099, authorizing second quarter 2025 emergency temporary appropriations, which requires a 2/3 vote of the full membership of the governing body for $15,171,163.75.
Does anybody wish to pull anything? No. Allison, one of these does require 4 votes.
Correct.
So should we take that out just as a, just to be sure? I would
Want to do a
suggest, yeah,
separate
let's
vote?
take
Sure.
that and just to go to 2025 R098, and then we can vote on that separately. Okay?
Okay, so we'll do a motion to approve 2025-R081 through 2025-R098.
Can I have a motion?
Salute,
Second, please.
Second.
Second. Roll call, please.
Gauss,
yes.
Chevers.
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Whitfield,
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. And now on 2025 R099. Can I have a motion?
To approve.
Second,
Gauss,
yes.
Chevers.
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Mandel.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. All right, we have no ordinances. And now I'll open for additional public comment. And we don't have anybody, so I have to open. Somebody could run it, somebody can run in here. I will close public comment. And let me do council reports first, and then we will do our website. Okay. All right, so for council reports, why don't we start with Dan?
Sure. So as I said earlier, the Board of Ed met. The primary purpose of the meeting was to introduce the 25-26 budget. And the focus of this meeting was really about our DEI programs and why they're so pretty much integrated into the entire model that our school functions. It's in our mission statements, it's in the goals and objectives. There's programs specifically targeting, because the whole model of our school district is that we teach every child, no exceptions. And one of the reasons for affirming this, and they actually passed a resolution, which is posted on the website, so you can go read the whole thing, is because from the purpose of their budget discussions, they're looking at a worst case scenario where they're making an assumption that they will lose all federal funding as a result of what we're seeing in Washington with the elimination of the Department of Education and the concern about what kind of funds the feds are going to bring to the state, which could then jeopardize our budget. So they're taking a worst case scenario view to say it will be zero. So that's a couple $1 million likely that they have to make up. They've been very sort of, they run a very tight ship over there and are able to make up some of that gap using mechanisms similar to our municipal fund balance. They call it a fund reserve, and a variety of other revenue streams, and changing some of the cost structure. The bottom line at the end of the day looks like it's going to be roughly a five plus change increase in the overall budget, which is on the high side. But they're fairly confident that only a small fraction of that will actually impact residential property tax owners. That a majority of that is being made up by their fund reserves and other funding mechanisms. They won't know what that exact number is until much further in the process, when they know exactly the number of students and the allocation between Plainsboro and West Windsor. But I felt that it was really important to issue this resolution because it goes hand in hand to the decisions that they're making to maintain the integrity of our education system here. Something that and I can't speak for everybody else, but I fully support, and I think it's the right thing to do.
And yeah, one question.
Sure.
The township cannot recognize revenue unless it is guaranteed. So they should know whether they are going to get the money or not get the money before the budget is approved. Is that true?
The money from the Fed?
Any revenue the township, let's say XYZ is giving township revenue, we cannot recognize it unless it's guaranteed,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So same rules must apply to the school district. So if they are thinking they will lose 3.5 million, 2.5 million, whatever million X dollars, they should know it before they approve the budget. Otherwise, they can approve the budget
Yeah, so the revenue that they're taking in,
from the federal.
yes.
I mean, if they're saying that they will lose federal grant, they should get a letter from federal or state. I mean, that's why our budget is
Right.
till the last
Problem
minute.
is the timing of, so.
I mean, this happens every year. I mean, we wait till the last second because the state doesn't tell us what our state funding is, right?
Right, right.
That's the whole reason why you don't get tax rate. We are not trying to hide anything. We don't know because the state doesn't tell us or the county doesn't give us their budget. So the same applies, but they have to know that number before they can approve the budget. We have to know the number before you can
I
approve
think
the budget.
April 29th is their budget hearing,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
And
so,
we have the meeting with the Board of Ed on April 29th.
Yeah, but
So,
that
yeah,
that day
but it's
usually they vote on the budget. The budget is done by
That's
then.
the hearing.
It's just a,
Hearing day too.
So
right,
the
so. I mean,
question is, do they know for sure by that
have they
date?
received a letter from the federal or the state that they are losing X grant?
that's a
I
good
mean,
question. So I don't know if they've actually.
yeah,
been
that's why I asked you,
expressly-
because
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
meeting you can ask that
That's a
question.
good question to ask.
Yeah.
whether it's been expressed or not.
That's exactly why I asked you that
My
question.
understanding is that they're making the assumption that they're not getting it, so they're planning in worst case scenario. And when I talked to Dr. Adderhold afterwards about it, it's like, well, what if you actually end up getting it?
Yeah.
Then that just goes, into the reserve and they could move the.
But then it's the same. I mean, you take it out of the reserve. They have the reserve, same like we have the
Yeah, yeah.
reserve. We take $10 million out of reserve, right? The same game then.
Yeah, yeah,
They
it's-
can take
it's-
it out of the reserve and
yeah.
put it in the reserve next year. But that shouldn't affect the tax rate then,
Correct.
because the revenue is still the same,
Correct.
exactly the same. So if the tax rate is 5%, that's something else that's causing the, I haven't looked at the budget.
So,
A couple of people called and asked me. I said, I didn't get a chance to look at the budget. I will look at the budget before that
so
meeting.
that 5% that I mentioned is not the rate, that's the increase in the overall budget.
It's the point two.
5.2%.
It's something like a 5.1 or 5.2 increase in the budget, of which I understand something like 1% of that, or not 1%, that there's a 4% are from other increases, and about 1% is from this hedging about the federal
Well, they
government.
can increase the budget all they want as long as the revenue increases. I mean, 1 year our budget increased by 10%.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because-
2
yeah,
years
They
because
have
that
caps
3.2
as
is
well.
not the
Yeah.
tax.
Yeah, it's not, no, it's not
As
the,
long as the revenue increases and the tax impact will be minimum. Because the county is going to raise taxes the same amount like last time.
Yeah.
It's going to be high. I mean, that I know.
Yeah.
Uh,
My sort of main talking point, especially when we talk to members of the community, is for people not to get alarmed when they see a 5% increase in the school budget, because they're gonna think, oh my goodness, my taxes are gonna go down 5%. And that is not the
Right,
case.
right.
And I've even seen some people put Facebook posts out there sort of implying that, and I've asked them, I've actually to take their post down because it wasn't really an accurate reflection, and we don't want to create these inflammatory remarks and get people upset about something that's not really gonna happen.
Right.
So.
and they're able to do this, I understand, without a referendum, because they have the same as we do, the whole cap thing. They have money left in the cap. And then there's also some extra money that is given for inflation. And then some of that money, I think, is health related, a lot of it. So they are not in a situation where it requires a referendum, from the way I understand it. Which I think would make it a totally different situation if now everybody was arguing over a referendum on the budget and there was some chance that it could go down that way. So. Okay.
That was it.
And you understand that if they do wind up where they don't have an answer and they wind up having to leave that there and then get that money, then instead of spending it, they will put it into the fund balance, right? Which would be nice to hear that officially come out and say it, so. Yeah, we can ask them on the 29th, we can ask them to officially come out and say that. Thank you, Dan, for a very detailed report. Okay, let's move along to Sonia.
Affordable housing has not met this month. An emergency management council meets only once every couple of months. So that meeting was done in February, which I had reported upon. The parking authority met on March 19th. The police reported that last month they responded 16 different times at the station. Daily parking has gone up since 2024 about this time around, but the permit parking volume has gone down. So I think the theory is people are not commuting as much, or they are using more for daily parking as opposed to permit parking. So
Right.
there was a long discussion on the bus depot project. If everything goes as to their timelines, they are hoping the project would be done by late fall this year. So their goal is before winter, if that project should be done. So which would make that area look much nicer. I think right now the first step is the remediation and the demolition of the buildings. I think they need a agreement between the township and parking authority. So I believe they are working with engineering to get that done. There's an agreement for right of way or something that has to be done.
So they actually expect by winter to have that project started with all that going on?
Yeah, so I think they're very close to filing for, there are two different grants for this project. I think there's one timeline, one is in April, due in April, and the other is in July, the deadline. So they're working towards that. And then once the demolition is done, I think the timeline as of right now is like towards fall to early winter is when they're looking at the project to be completed.
Okay. Okay, Sonia, Linda?
The Shade Tree Commission will meet this Wednesday, March 28th at 6:30 PM in Room B in the Municipal Building. There was mention of bamboo earlier this evening, so that is listed as one of the topics on the agenda.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm all excited.
Right, so it'll be interesting. It's a lot on the agenda. And as Carrie mentioned earlier, Arbor Day artwork from the K-8 students is due this week. What the trees see is the topic. And I also attended the science fair at Village School earlier this month, and it's amazing how prepared our students are, and also to discuss their projects with members of the public. So it's we're proud of all that they do. Thanks.
Martin?
Sure. Human Relations met last Tuesday. They're in a full discussion to have a community cookout with the Recreation Department. Obviously, this would be one of the first overall community cookouts with the absolute goal of bringing the community together. Regardless of political affiliation, as they've said, culture, ethnicity, background, or economic status, the cookout will be based solely, like I mentioned, on communal togetherness, unification of our residents. A date has not been set, but I will let everyone know. Thank you.
Did you say cookout? You mean, so there's actually going to be flames and stuff to cook on?
Yes.
All right. Oh, hey. Oh, nice, nice. Okay. All right.
Bringing my.
Yeah.
No microwave.
No microwaves. No. Okay, marshmallows. Let's do some s'mores. Okay, yes. Environmental Commission met, and one of the main things they were looking at was the number of points and the various projects that we have that are related to sustainable Jersey. And Dan Delbomilsky was there, and we went over the list of potential projects, what people can do to enhance some of the projects. I got a couple assignments out of finding some pictures. And we're, look like we're well on our way to a good recertification again this year. So part of the advantage of doing this is that we work more on the projects and we take a look and see how we can enhance them as we're going along as we come down the home stretch. Thank you. All right, we're now going to go on to the website discussion. So before the council starts with our discussion, I was hoping to get a little background on why we're doing the website and also a little bit about what's been done so far, and then we'll get into some of the council suggestions. So
She'll give you a little update and then I'll give my same
okay,
speech
Carrie
I
will
gave
give that
at,
background and then you'll say something.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carrie. Go ahead.
So the current host of our website, City Connections, is in the process of retiring, and so they're shutting down their business, and they will continue to host our website until the new one is up and running. But that is the reason why we have transitioned or are in process of transitioning over to a new host and design. So the current status is, I know I've provided the screenshot of just the template of the layout. So that's where we're at with that. We are currently working on the sitemap of it. And now with the feedback that we've received from everyone, we can take those things and try to revamp whatever is on the sitemap to really incorporate that. And then wherever we get to the next step, hopefully be able to provide you better updates on the status of it. But I think we'll take all of your feedback and incorporate it and see what kind of actionable items we can do to be able to make sure that we have the best website for our residents and take those things into consideration. Currently, our IT staff is out of the office and out of the country. So as soon as they get back, we we'll be meeting to get a further update on that.
Okay, and that'll be like a couple weeks or something?
Yeah, our huge IT staff of
Hmm?
one is visiting India.
I
So,
was going to say our big staff, yes.
yeah.
Yes,
No,
our big
Lalit-
staff.
Lalit is
And our other half of the staff was out of the country too previously. So, but I think that the items that you provided are super helpful. So, and I think I know how I use my own township's website, and those are the things that I get frustrated at too. So that's what I keep thinking. So a lot of things are the same things that we were thinking about as well. So.
Thank you, Carrie. Mayor, did you
Yeah,
want to say
so
before
I
we start?
mean, she gave you reason why we are doing it. And the old company has kindly agreed to support us until our new website is up and running. Again, my whole philosophy is give us actionable ideas. I mean, some of you have given us many of those things we were going to do anyway, but those are good ideas and we will try to implement as many as we can. If we can't implement it, I'll try to explain to you why we can't implement it or why we don't want to implement it from philosophical point of view. Just for example, online reservation for parks, it appears very easy.
Mayor, I would like to give the council a chance to kind of like discuss the ideas for.
No, I'm just giving you a philosophical example.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yes.
I'm
but-
not going to comment on any ideas right now. I'm just saying some ideas we may not implement because there are operational issues. And that is one example, the operational issues that we cannot, that's the idea you've already given. So you give us all the actionable ideas, we will implement as many of it possibly can. But I don't want to have a philosophical discussion because at the end of the day, I don't really know what you want out of it. So.
Okay, what I'll do is we'll go around and everybody can kind of just give a little bit of the highlights of what they're looking for, and then we can have a little bit of course, discussion on it. Linda, you want to go first for this?
Well, I looked at some of the websites, Carrie, that you had mentioned and all. I guess one of the things, it seemed to be a common thing for several of us was like have a pay bill online section. So it's clear, like where they should go. You know, maybe it's online, it's online section and then it's like, or taxes or permits, whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of other websites seem to have that. Any sort of maps section, maps for tax parcels, tax assessment, zoning, deeds and records is useful. As much as possible, so people don't have to call and ask if they can get it on the website. That will, be more efficient. I saw a few how do I sections that help residents navigate the website in a timely manner. A few of them had that. It was called, quote, how do I, ... Complaints and suggestions. I think that's another common thing for people. I mean, we do things for potholes, but what about other complaints in other areas? And maybe even suggestions as a positive thing, not just a complaint, Yeah. I saw on one website out there, a section on how to review our website in another language. So that I saw that only on one, but I put it in here since we're very multicultural here. In the section on weekly construction traffic forecasts, including road closures with an emergency map. So that would have to be something that engineering give, the most recent updates. Could be weekly updates, it could be, daily updates. But people are always kind of looking for that. And just visual appeal on the front page. There's an awful lot of information that's there, and it's just a lot of news notices and all. So maybe put all that in one section as opposed to like, a long list like this. It's a lot. Police department, I mean, they have their whole department too.
Linda?
You could, police, I think we already have one where you can click on and put that information in there and people can go directly, into that. So.
Very simple for me. When it comes to the website, eye-friendly and user-friendly. In my sports facility, we'll see a million customers this year, and we're continuously working on our website. But like I said, we'll have so many people coming to my job through the front doors, but there's so many important things, actionable items, terms of user-friendly and eye-friendly, I think is very important to a website. So I won't go into so many details because many of my council colleagues have already written out so much stuff that I totally agree with. But I think just in this era that we live in now, so many people are looking on their phones, they are looking on desktops, and they just want to be able to find things. I would say in a term with the quickness as opposed to having to navigate through so much to find what they're looking for. So I think the key thing for me is just user-friendly and eye-friendly is very, very important.
Thank you, Martin. Dan?
Yeah, so I think the common thread of all of our comments is that we're all looking at ways to digitize or automate functions that people do all the time, and just to make it easier for them. I recognize the challenge behind some of that is that the website is just the user interface. So digitizing or automating a function does require changes on the back end, on the administrative processes. It might be process engineering. It just doesn't happen magically just because you have the website there. So I recognize that you have to kind of figure out what's feasible in the time frame. So I think what I would like to sort of see is that I don't see this as like a single event that happens. This is, to me, the beginning of sort of a continual improvement process as we continue to bring more modernized service delivery to our residents. We can't do everything at once because that would be way too overwhelming for the organization, being the administration and the folks, to actually be able to do that. So there has to be some view of what sort of that long-term plan looks like and what are sort of the key functions and services that we want to do over the course of time. And that's why I kind of asked for, like, what is what is the functional requirements? What does the design plan look like? And that's a living document, right? That keeps changing. And it gives us the opportunity to also evaluate the success of how it's working, evaluate what, maybe we reprioritize things as we move along the process. But I think it's really important to do this from and my guess is that the organization, based on the fact that they have a pretty large portfolio of integration points and many other websites down, they understand user-centric design. They understand sort of modern website design. It's not just about a place where people go to get information. It's 2025. These are applications, right? And they, looking at their sort of service portfolio, they include like the options to do what Linda asked for, to be able to automatically report stuff with some geolocation tagging. They have all that stuff. Now, none of that stuff is free, right? Everything has a price tag to it. What I don't have a good feel for is sort of what we're committed to at this point. What is sort of our vision of how do we see this playing out in the next couple of years? It would be nice to sort of see maybe a roadmap of sort of the different modules that we think would make sense. Because I think there's a lot of opportunity here to really improve the experience for our residents, but also improve the way the organization functions. I mean, talking a little bit about diversity, we have an incredible diverse set of people up here. And if we wanted to get deep into recreational facility management, Martin has that in spades, right? And if we wanted to talk about emergency services, I'm sure Sonia and others could jump in there. So I think I've demonstrated that I'm a fairly humble person. I don't like to brag a lot, but this is what I've done in my career for the last 30 years, is to help organizations transform and innovate using digital technology. And it's not about the technology. It's about the underlying business processes that are needed in order to support the technology. So I think if we think of it that way, we can be successful in what we deliver. And part of recognizing what is going to be successful is knowing what we're asking for. So I get uncomfortable when I don't see sort of what we expect to get back, because then how do you know you were successful in the project if you don't have it well defined up front? So it doesn't, everything doesn't have to always be wrapped up and perfect, but it would be good if we get a sort of a better idea in the terms of like a roadmap of what we expect to see in some of these functions. Some of what we've asked for, I think, are organizational things, the way the website looks. And those are probably fairly easy things. It sounds like Carrie's probably thought about most of them already. And those are all good things. And maybe this first phase is truly, we're sort of in a position where we have to move to a new website. And so this wasn't instigated because of a desire to change things. It's really, the first step is because we have a need to change vendors, but it also creates this opportunity for us to do something bigger and better and more valuable. So that's a little philosophical, but I think we're going in the right direction. I think it'd be just helpful, especially since we're using public taxpayer dollars to do all this, to get a sort of a more clear roadmap of what it's going to look like. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Sonia?
Well, I don't want to take too much time. I think my colleagues here have mentioned pretty much everything. One thing that I keep going back to is when we, if somebody opens up our website and if there is a actionable item for a recent action, like let's say reminder for the alarm permit, right? So maybe a pop-up window, like this is the deadline or something like that. If there's an emergency and we could road closures and just make it easy for a user to just get that message right away, as opposed to digging into, the update section where you have to go down like 5 pages.
You have to know
find
it's
a
there
particular-
too. You have to have seen it before to know that it's on the third page.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like if there is a immediate actionable item, if that could be something I think would be very helpful. For our residents, that's something that always bothers me. So, and I think among all of us, we have gone down our wants or hopes for the website. But at the end of the day, I think we just need a user-friendly, easy website, right? So, yeah, anything we can digitize, online bill payments, reservations. I know, I think parks reservations probably is going to be difficult, but if we can make it a little more easier, as opposed to people the only way right now is calling the department to see if those dates are available, or even if we can have a calendar that shows what days are available for booking. If not online reservation, at least the availability portion, things like that.
Or even something saying that we rent the parks and which sites are rentable, which we don't actually have right now. Yeah, to start with, yeah.
Westminster parks
Mhm.
are available for rent. People only think
Yeah.
about Mercer County Park, but
Mm.
we do have a few parks in our town that you can rent. The pavilions and
Mm.
other,
Parks and Rec could use that income.
they
Yeah,
can
Yeah,
definitely, certainly.
we've missed out on some income, I think, and I think we used to have that. I remember there used to be a way where you could at least look and they would say, here's this is and here's the price. So I'm not sure what happened with that. So I'm hoping that should be a quick fix.
Structure even.
That should be a quick fix they could put on the current website. I think it just fell off at some point. Anything else, Sonia?
One of the ones that I have is like, if we could have a mayor's corner, council's corner, maybe some sort of thing that we can rotate and have some of our messaging and to our residents, or could be, and then that could also go out to our residents as newsletter.
I agree with a bunch of stuff here. One thing I do want to put in here, and it's not directly with the website, is I think we really should have a town app. Most people want to use their phones. And one of the things is, say you're reporting a pothole, somebody being able to stop, take a picture of a pothole that's even got a geo address on it, send it in right away, and know exactly where it is and what it looks like. You really need to do that on a mobile app. And I think there's a lot that can be done on a mobile app directly, rather than having somebody go to a website and then try to fill it in these tiny little things. So that's separate, but when we're designing the website, we should think about, if we have an app, how is that going to fit in? I think there's two different things in this website. One is communicating to the town, and that would be reporting your potholes, saying that there's some issue at a particular corner, report, and all the different kinds of reporting, even paying your bills. And that's you communicating into the town, and that's one direction. And I think there needs to be a central way to do that, and a very standardized, so that when you're reporting to one place, you're not told to send an email with a description, and another one, you're filling out a form, something else you're filling out somewhere. And from what I've seen, looking at the show, at the New Jersey League show, various pieces of software that are around there are ways you can standardize to some way that it becomes one of these 2-click processes. It takes you 2 clicks to get to where you have to go. And then where you are, there's a fairly standard form. You don't have to know what department does it. You don't have to know why. You don't have to know the name. You don't have to write the entire council and copy the whole council because you want a sign fixed on a road somewhere. You send it to a manager, who then sends it to the right place. And that can be automated in various ways down the road. And then it gets acted on, and then there's some provision to tell the person that made the request what the status is at any point. Send them a status that we've gotten it, send them a status that we're working on it, and then send them a status that we've taken care of it. And that could probably get automated as we go along. And I think as Dan had mentioned, it's actually a whole system. It's not just a website. It's basically buying the system that gives you that power. Because right now, there is a lot of steps, I think, for things that are,
Getting a
Right.
plugin that we can plug
Right.
in.
Yeah, there are apps
So-
actually that do that
yeah.
already, Andrea.
yeah, I know.
Right?
I've talked to these
That's
guys, and
Right.
I've had
So-
people dying to give me demos of
Right,
it,
right,
but
right, right. So.
But, so there are ways that we could become much more efficient. Now, I know there's the issue of, that doesn't give us any more people in DPW to take care of it, but it gets it into the queue. And then as part of that, you can even assign a triage or assign which thing is more important. Obviously, if a sinkhole opens up, that's a lot different than if there's a little pothole on a cul-de-sac. So you can even have this put in something or other, so it gives people an idea of which thing to work on first, and it becomes part of your system. So, and that's the communication that way, and that's kind of one basic type of communication, which is, we're calling them complaints, but it's essentially maintaining the system. And then the other thing is getting information out. I want to go and I want to know if there's going to be a council meeting, and where do I have to go for that? If I could go to the calendar, but now I have to look through the calendar and find it, or is there an easy way? So we need a better calendar system, and we need a better system of informing people. Like Sonia was mentioning about.
Downloadable.
Right,
event
something-
calendar or
Like when you.
And it
sign up
put
for
in a
subscription.
notification. It's something that either notifies you, or if you want, it'll put it onto your Google Calendar or whatever. And then the other piece of information that I think people are interested in is the real-time, it's coming to a council meeting every 2 or 3 weeks and saying what zone somebody's in and where they might be in 2 weeks is okay, but it's not super helpful. There should be some form of, somebody goes on there, puts their address, sees exactly not only what zone they're in, but when it's expected, and in real time, where are they? And that would be something that would have to be calculated. And there are several things that, I mean, right now, if I order a sandwich on DoorDash, I can follow the DoorDash driver. I don't think we have to get into that level. But somebody should have an idea, is this happening in my neighborhood this week? And even, hey, maybe it's tomorrow, I better get out there and throw those leaves out there. And there's 5 or 6 things in the town that you really want to know. Is the waste not being picked up tomorrow? When's the leaf pickups? There's maybe 5 or 6 things you could probably find that would need that kind of ability, where somebody could go and check on that. I really want some kind of a township newsletter, but that's more a matter, I mean, you could put that on anything. You could put that on the back of they still make milk cartons. And real-time road construction information, so that somebody could look at a map and see where is the construction today in West Windsor and what's going to block them off, and what time they should try to avoid it. And that could probably be just some sort of an interactive map. It could be based on various current map systems. And instead of having all these different little nixel out this, and somebody says this road and somebody says that, and maybe tomorrow, because I think we've found a number of times when the roads were blocked, we weren't really sure if it was blocked one way, 2-way. So something that's in a real time that does that. And I know that we've made this really, really extensive here between all of us. But I think we could start on some of these improvements. And I think we're all kind of on the same page, what we're looking for this to ultimately turn into, and maybe what could be almost a quicker fix when there's a new website and becomes a lot more available and visible and stays visible. One problem is the disappearing document. There's an announcement, there's a document, it doesn't really go in any of the little boxes. And then I'm not even sure if it's on there still or somebody pulled it off, but you can't find it again. And it's something that was an announcement on something you'll want to see again. And so I'm suggesting that you can sunset some of these. If it was yes, tomorrow this road's closed and tomorrow's over and the road's open, you can sunset that and say, take it off. But a lot of other stuff you would like to have the capability to find again. And that's my soapbox on this. Does anyone have any other?
No, it's just, I think
comments
we
on
all
this?
had good ideas. We're all on a like similar playing field of ideas and what we want. But my question now is it's budget season. We've concluded a lot of budget discussions and this has sort of come up either through budget or tonight. Do we have enough money to do some of these ideas? I don't know if these projects are a few thousand, 10,000, 100,000. I don't know. I mean, we don't know yet, but we want to do a lot. And if there's time to put enough money in the budget to do these things this year. Otherwise, you're another year out and we're working on this now. Doesn't mean we can do everything at once, but I'd like to see some progress on that.
I mean,
I
I'll
think
speak
that's
with,
that's a fair question to answer first, maybe, and then you can.
yeah, I mean, if you've enough money to do everything, we haven't first decided what everything is. So I cannot answer, we have everything to do. See, the first task as just to use some of your comments that some of you made. As she said, the main purpose is that they told us we are shutting down. If they shut down tomorrow, we are in big trouble because we don't have. So the first task was to move over the website and improve it as much as we possibly can during the move over. We are not trying to redesign the entire business process. I mean, if it was a big tech company, they will start with, okay, what do you want to achieve? Go back, redesign the business process, and then do the website. That's not the intent here. The intent is to first move the website, improve it as much as we possibly can, accommodate some of the things that you do, and then continuous improvement, as you talked about. We will go doing continuous improvement, right? We may be able to, the aim is never to do 100% of what everybody expects, because that will, no, more than impossible. After a certain point, it's a law of diminishing return. You end up spending far more money than the result you get. So at some point, somebody has to decide that, okay, those two things we can do, but you can live with it, right? Again, some of you talked about emergency and you want live update. I mean, what you consider as emergency, we may not consider emergency. If a road is closed for 1 hour and you say, no, I want to know that very minute, we may say, no big deal. You go there, like yesterday, New Village Road was closed. I went there, no big deal. I didn't get upset. How come you didn't post it on the website? Even if you had posted on the website, I may not have looked at the website before.
Well,
Yeah, the poll snap,
So I know.
right? The poll snap.
okay, then join
So
us.
I went there, I
Yeah.
looked around, no big deal. So again, what everybody looks at as an emergency may not be true emergency. I mean, when people complain about roads and stuff, the police will always tell me that's 1 hour a day. Is that an emergency? Or people can't manage 1 hour a day?
I think
That's
things
so,
like
Or
so
real time for like
currently,
garbage collection and real time for leaf collection, those seems to be.
no,
things
see
we
that,
get a
see,
lot more
I wrote
questions
down
on.
several
Yeah.
things. It's a
Yeah.
great idea to put leaf collection this week, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Or leaf
yeah.
collection next week. Then nobody has a right to complain that I didn't know,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
And maybe
The
people will
biggest-
stop putting their stuff out.
No, but
3 weeks
biggest
ahead of
problem
time.
we find is people
Mhm.
put it the day after you pick up, right? And it's there for 4 weeks.
But now they don't have the excuse like I didn't
They
realize.
don't
it
at least have an excuse. So I did write down several good things, several great suggestions that we will definitely implement, and they will have an immediate feedback for us, like leaf collection
Those
next
are
week.
quick, I mean, I look at those as quick wins, and right? And so when you
Yeah.
create the new website, it immediately has these handful of new features. There might not be,
Right,
great.
and then,
It's not, like
and-
you're inventing sliced
and-
bread or
So
anything,
Some
but
of this information is
it's good.
already available on Recycle
correct,
Coach.
correct, correct.
Well, Recycle Coach isn't a real-time update,
It's-
yeah.
But,
So-
but it at least
And
gives
it's-
a general
So-
idea of when it is.
It basically is a calendar and. yeah,
So to answer
Yeah.
Linda's
and it's
question,
gotten bad.
right now, we don't need any money. If we need money, if we need to get more software or stuff, we will come and ask you. But right now, we don't need to change the budget.
Well, some of the stuff we've asked for, it's almost a matter of you want to change your process, and then once you've got your process, then how do I make the website reflect the process too? You can't,
Right.
you can't change the website and then expect the process. You find out how the process can work, the back end, and then you create something so that people can easily use a new back end. So that's a little more futuristic.
Yeah, and that may be one of the continuous improvement. Once we have the website up and running, we may say this works it better this way. We may change the process and then change the website. That will happen.
And that could lead to more efficiencies overall
Yeah.
at some point in the next
So,
level of stuff.
so
but-
I mean, again,
but-
my request and suggestion is pass the suggestions like that, let leave pickup next week. Great suggestion. We will make sure that it's not currently on our website, right? You may not get minute to minute that your truck is coming in 30 minutes, that you're not.
I don't
going to
think they
get.
need that
No,
kind of
no, I'm-
level, yeah.
I'm telling you right now,
Yeah.
you won't get it.
I mean,
Because
I know it's technically
that-
possible, but it's not worth it.
No, but that's, FedEx does that.
I
FedEx can
know, I
afford to
told
do
you,
that.
my sandwich come, well,
Fe-
I usually get a whole dinner, but still.
Right, the minute
I
you the
can track the
package,
guy
yeah.
when he's gonna take the
But-
picture in front of
but
my house. you know.
That's the example of law of diminishing return. I mean, that additional investment is not worth, in my opinion.
That
So
we
that we
understand,
won't do.
But, there's even down to the week level of, yes, I know it's gonna be this.
Yeah, yeah,
Collection
yeah.
is fun.
Because
so-
it's, it's a delay thing.
Again, I mean, you can continue sending suggestions. It's not like you send one, you may come across something tomorrow, you say, hey, I missed that, right? We're not sending there's no cutoff. I mean, you can continue sending suggestions. We'll continue. When Lalit comes back, we'll restart the process, and she will keep continuing to update you. And we will go as along. And 2 months from now, you can schedule another session to discussion based on where we are, and we will go from there.
could you comment a little bit on the nature of the contract we have with them? Is it basically this conversion and then a maintenance mode, or is there an additional opportunity for them to introduce new features or functions?
I can, there is, it's a design, and then, I think in 3 or 4 years is another redesign that they can roll out as well, but it's continuing to be able to grow the website as well. So it's not just a design and then they're out.
Got it.
They're support us and any of the apps or their CMS, they will support all of that.
But
For-
if we wanted to add something, obviously there's.
It's more,
price.
you're right, but there are certain things that are included, but we want to make sure that we get all of the information that's currently on our website and then
Yes, John.
make sure it's working and doesn't have dead links or,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
and is user
never
friendly, so
portable
it's that
from-
one click or 2 clicks to be able to what zone are we in or, because that's what I'm looking at on my website. Oh, I have twice a year leaf pickup, so I want to know what month is it again? And I don't want to have to go 7 pages in to find it. So
Right,
that's,
yeah.
I'm with you
Yeah,
on
the
that.
No,
moment you are third click, you lose. you
Yeah,
lose the
then I'm
user.
already onto another website.
Yeah,
so-
the view is that you shouldn't have to know where to look to find something. If you
Right.
have to figure out where to look, then you've already lost the game.
Right.
And,
Agreed.
and the more we can keep some of the stuff consistent, so somebody doesn't have to do it one way for one, the more it's, becomes automatic how to reach us and how to do things for us. Because right now, I mean, we have people who just assume that you have to write the whole council and the mayor if you have a problem with your garbage pickup or something. And that's, it's because somebody's frustrated, obviously, and yet it winds up taking a lot of time. And by the time it gets to the right place, so, anything that can help that would be good. People, it shouldn't be a huge learning curve for the residents. It should be something that if I had to go there for the first time, I could figure out how to use it. And the next time, 6 months later, if I need something else, I've already learned. So,
Agreed.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the ideas of like, this is basically a ticketing system that Andrea is talking about. That also has a whole back end of tracking and
That's a-
maintenance and
it can-
close out the
yeah, you
ticket,
can-
informing the person. That's a major undertaking.
That's like the next step. It could be used as a very simple, okay, it's one form and it goes to a real person and that person knows where to send it. And that's the
That's it.
simple way.
Just- yeah,
But eventually can go into something
But-
where it's a little bit
but
better.
those-
Yeah,
I mean, those modules exist.
yeah.
Pre-bake, and they actually would be beneficial likely for the administration because it streamlines the ability to respond, it streamlines the ability for them to see the status.
And
So
it
it's
gives
actually
them-
not just the residents, but it also helps.
Yeah, it gives the ability to prioritize and it.
Keep track of stuff.
Eventually, you kind of even figure out if it's, say, DPW, how much time each thing takes, and
Right.
you can kind of,
Well, then
and you can
do
kind of
reporting,
schedule, and yeah, so
details. We
eventually
get
that
X number of
becomes, yeah.
Tickets, and this helps you justify budget, and I mean,
Yeah,
it's
so it's,
it's a
but
good model to put it.
but it can sort of start from a simpler way, and then, there's two ways. One, put that system in, then do the site, and the other one is, let's have a simple way for people, from the residents' point of view, it's like the old Horn and Hardart. I don't know if you've ever heard of where it was supposed to be an automated, it was from back in the early 1900s. You put money in the machine and there was a meal there and
Yeah.
you took it out.
Nickel or dime.
But the back end of it was like 100 people working and stuffing
Yeah.
the meals into the box, whereas now, so you can still do that, but then eventually you would look for a better system on the
Challenge is
back
that
end.
you need 100 people.
Yeah.
So if you make it really easy for people to report stuff and they start
Yeah.
reporting stuff, then you
Yeah.
have, now you've created a problem. Because now you don't have the processes and the staff to actually support that.
But, most people are gonna if it's something bad, people will report it, and you don't want it to take a lot of people's time.
So what's the next step? Is it like a launch or are you coming back to us with
I think
more discussion?
we just got the feedback so we'll have to meet
Mhm.
when IT gets back, and then we'll
Okay.
probably have a better update on
Yeah.
that. So
And what's your practical, I mean, you've got somebody retiring here. So I know they told you kind of, they'll work with you, but what's the practical date where you really have to
Yeah, is there a
report it
target date?
over?
not a target date as of yet. I think the feedback first, and then we'll have a real timeline with revise the
That's
new
good. So you
company.
have some
So
flexibility.
Okay.
I would say sooner, but
I
think-
know when you first mentioned this, we heard 6 months, and it's probably close to that now at this point, so.
well, they only went into effect, I think, for January 1st. So we're,
Oh, okay, we had
But-
been told like earlier that it was happening, and we thought,
but I
so-
mean, sooner than later, but I think getting that feedback, and then once IT gets back, we can meet again and see where we're at with them as well.
okay. And if you wanted to bounce, you don't have to wait for a meeting, you can, there's always sending emails out to the whole council and on any thoughts and stuff like that. Okay, thank you much. Does anyone else have anything to say before we adjourn? No? Thank you, everybody, for all the feedback. Thank you for listening. And at this point, any other administration updates? Mayor? No, nothing. Allison, do you have anything?
No other
No?
updates.
There's no closed session. So if nobody has any objection, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So
So
moved.
moved. Oh,
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.